Back now to the fallout from the search of Mar-a-Lago and a new ruling that allows a special master to review the documents seized from Donald Trump's country club. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Andrew Weissman.
So, Andrew, you certainly know I have been bellowing for years now about how Donald Trump is above the law and he should be held. He should be accountable for his crimes. But I'm not catastrophizing over this appointment, first of all, because if it delays prosecution by a few weeks, I think the Justice Department will figure out a way to work itself around that and also let him litigate the executive privilege. I don't think he has it, and the Supreme Court may have to rule on that. But other than those two issues, what is the tragedy in this special master being appointed?
Okay, let me see if I can convince you. So let's first talk about something that you mentioned, which is sort of equal justice, and that Donald Trump should not be treated better or worse than anybody else under investigation. What the judge did here is so out of the norm. Her discussion of the facts and her tethering of this to the law would just bore no resemblance to what happens every single day in federal and state investigations. No one else would be treated this way. And what's the harm other than it is opening the door to every defendant is going to now ask for this, which is nobody wants to have a fast investigation. Everyone's going to want to delay an investigation, and any good defense lawyer is going to glom onto this decision and say, you know what, I want a special master appointed to review any document at all that I have an interest in. It doesn't work that way. You do have an opportunity to do that if you get indicted. And it really isn't going to be a question of a couple weeks. It is unheard of for an Article III judge to enjoin a criminal investigation. Unheard of to do that. And here, with the defense, Donald Trump's defense now knowing that it can delay things, it's not just a question of appointing somebody and that special master will do their own independent review. The defense is going to keep raising issues and wanting to litigate and take them to the special master and then take them to the district court judge and then take them to the 11th Circuit. This really could open the door to months of litigation. And the precedent, as I said, is horrendous because no other defendant or putative defendant is given this kind of right.
Well, if somebody's engaged in insider stock trading or some other white-collar crime, and their office is broken into, or there's a search of their office, or there's a search of their home, isn't it a bit different than a former president whose premises is searched, legally searched by a warrant? I mean, these are fairly extraordinary times. This is a fairly extraordinary case. And again, my concern is that at the end of the day, Donald Trump is brought to justice. So if it is delayed, if there are procedural steps that are taken that makes it look like our democracy is bending over backwards, to be fair, what is the ultimate damage in this case? Does it make it less likely that the DOJ can actually prosecute a case against Donald Trump?
I think the answer to that depends on how long this goes on. I think that is the answer. And I do think there's damage to the principle that nobody is above the law and everyone should be treated the same. Let me give you an example of how easy this issue is. In the special counsel investigation, when we did a search of Paul Manafort's home, all of the documents were put in a room. We called up his defense counsel at a very reputable firm at the time, Wilmer Cutler. We invited them to look at the documents, to flag anything that they thought was attorney-client privilege. We had the taint team review those things. We worked it all out in a matter of days. If there were any disputes, they could be brought to the judge. There was no need to enjoin us. There was no need for a special master. It all just sort of comes and goes, and there's a normal process for this. That's why what the judge did here just seems so out of the ordinary. And I don't think it really helps with people's confidence if you have special rules for somebody. It isn't the case that because you're the former president, you get more justice. You should get equal justice. You shouldn't be treated worse, but he shouldn't be treated better.
So, Andrew, obviously the precedent, you've made clear the danger there, but what's the potential this could be held up, and for how long, given what we know about the types of documents this special master will be dealing with?
So that is the big question that I think the Department of Justice is going to be wrestling with now is, do they take an appeal because this is so legally wrong and such a terrible precedent for other cases? Or do they think they can get through the special master process quickly enough that it won't have any lasting damage, as Joe said, that, so what, there'll be a special master, it shouldn't be done in other cases, but let's just get through it. But the real issue is, you really can't read what the judge did here and have any confidence that she's going to be reasonable in the way that the special master process is going to work, because the decision is, frankly, is just so off the wall, both in its legal analysis and even its recitation of the facts. It's not even-handed. So I can see people at the department probably being very skeptical that this won't open the door to really inordinate delay.
So, Andrew, Judge Cannon will make the appointment of this special master. This is not an area that any of us has covered or our viewers have really been familiar with over the years. So what kind of person is a special master? Is it an attorney? Is it a credible person? Is it somebody with experience? Or can they work with the Trump team and put the MyPillow guy in, or Rudy Giuliani or someone like that?
That's another great question. So this now has to be somebody who both sides, according to the court, both sides agree on. I'm not sure that's going to happen. It should be somebody who's got top secret clearance, because the judge has allowed review of executive privilege documents, which is, again, unheard of, and it makes no sense, because if there are executive privilege documents, it means that the documents belong to the archives, not to Donald Trump. And it's presumably somebody who has done this in the past. So, look, the ideal person would be a former judge who doesn't really show strong partisan leanings one way or the other. It's possible, but I think there's going to be a dispute over that issue of who's actually going to be the special master, which itself can cause delay. And if the person doesn't have clearance, that also is something that takes at least some time, although it can be expedited. That also is not something that happens overnight.
NBC News legal analyst Andrew Weissman,